Too Hard, Too Fast podcast.
So when you went to college, was going to college. I know, like I brought it up earlier, that you kind of stopped and you did a 180, which I 100% admire when people do stuff like that. Like it's fucking nuts to me, and I really love the idea that someone can do the this is not working out for me anymore and I'm not happy. I'm gonna go try something that's probably gonna make me miserable for a long time. But if it hits,
Yeah.
it's gonna be the best thing for me.
So I will tell you the story of how all that came about. It was less poetic than the way that you put it, honestly. I fucked up a lot, to be quite honest. Like I really messed up a lot, and I was a bad kid. I was very rebellious. I was always getting into fights. I wanted to be like a chola. I used to wear my little bangs down and like chucks and like
The Sharpie eyebrows.
I had these hook eyebrows. It was so disgusting and ugly. And I used to wear those
Is she
belts.
angry or is she surprised? I don't know.
I know, we could never tell. But you know, like the belts that had the old English letters, like those little like rope.
Oh yeah,
You had
yes.
those buckles and you like spell your name out like vato, or whatever. I dressed like that. I had like old English everywhere, and I was just trying to be this little chola girl because I was prove I was Mexican to my Mexican friends, or
That's badass.
and then we went
Also,
to
I
like
think I have the worst belt. Worse than that. I
what?
found it. I was cleaning out some of my stuff for my parents, and I found this belt buckle. So I'm from Eagle Pass. The belt buckle was an eagle, like a fucking eagle,
Oh my god, was it like a big one like this?
like a big bronze eagle, just like
Oh
this.
man.
So Eagle Pass, also Mexican. So you have the Mexican eagle. So it was like you couldn't escape it. It was like
Oh my
I
god.
looked at it, it was like cringy as fuck.
That is so hilarious. The things we did in high school to prove our Mexicano is or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But, like I was hardcore, like because I left the res, then we went to Kansas City where I grew up with like my Mexican side of the family, and like I am this little like light-skinned girl. I don't speak Spanish. My dad doesn't speak Spanish, but everyone else in our family speaks Spanish. And so I was like, I had a complex. I was like, I don't speak Spanish. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. So I started trying to learn more. And then I got me, my brother, and my sister, my stepsister at the time, I got us all expelled. Like, like not really dispelled, but we were banned from the school district. Like
Oh damn.
that's how bad I was. That they were like, we don't want your kind here at all. So then we had to go to this like super hood school that was all
Did you
like,
tell them which kind, the Mexican kind or the
I
indigenous?
know, like, what kind you talking about? They're like, whatever you are, we don't want it. So they kicked me out of the entire school district. And then we went to this like super Mexican school in the hood. And it was Harmon High School and KCK in Wyandotte County. At least they call it Crime Dot. That's where I grew up because it was like the ghetto part of Kansas. So it was called Crime Dot, Wyandotte County. We went to Harmon. And we had like like these little vatos and like gang members that would come spray paint our school. There was a freaking shooting the first day, a drive-by the first day I went there. And then they had the highest dropout rate, pregnancy dropout rate. Everyone was getting pregnant. My best friend from 8th grade to 9th grade got pregnant with her first child. And she had 2 children by the time she was a senior in high school. So this gives you a broadened scope of like what type of high school I went to. So I was trying to prove like I was down, because I was always getting picked on for quote unquote being a pretty girl. And I had to I had to like defend myself. But then it got to a point where I was like, okay, well, if I just become mean and intimidating and just start beating girls up, like they'll stop messing with me. So you couldn't even look at me wrong. And I would be like, what are you looking at? And I would like fight you. It was so crazy. That was crazy. So anyways,
I love it. That's awesome.
Fast forward to I got kicked out of entire school district, and I was like, okay, I got to be a good kid now. So I had to have at 15 years old, I had to have a real solid talk with myself because I couldn't go to school for months until the expulsion was like lifted, and then I had to go to a whole new school district, and this was when I went to the hood school. So we were at a really good school, and then I got us all kicked out because my dad was trying to like make sure we got the best education. You know how like Mexican American families are, and just families in general. If you grew up in the hood, they want better for you. They don't want you to walk the same road that they did because there's not a lot of privilege or opportunity there. So he was trying his best to do something good for us, and I fucked it up because I was bad. I was a bad girl. So I was like disappointing my parents, you know. They were like, what's going on with you? Like, you're crazy. And I was like, I know, I don't know. So I had to have a real hard talk with myself and try to figure out, like, how do I change as a person? At 15, I had to have that talk with myself. I'm like, I'm done being this bad girl. I want to be a good kid. I want to go to college. I want a brighter future. Like, I want to prove that I'm not like a mistake, you know, of a child. Like, I want to do something good.
And was that just like a self-talk, or was that like some kind of, well, it wasn't like a huge realization of like, oh man,
I mean, it was both, you know. It was a realization of like I was screwing up really bad. I literally was like one misdemeanor charge away from being put in juvenile detention center. So I had like misdemeanors, battery charges like against me for fighting people. And I had one more opportunity, and I had to figure out what I wanted to do with that. Like, do I want to keep going down this path and being this crazy, out of control kid and like end up with another misdemeanor and then go to juvenile hall? Like, am I really built for that? I mean, at the time I felt probably like I was, but I was like, this should not be my reality. So I had to change. And
Está loco.